Tom, good morning. Thanks as always for joining us. We'll start with the win over the Vanderbilt Commodores. It was cool. I was telling Tommy and our listeners earlier, I got a chance to watch the game, and it was completely dead silent in there, so you could hear everything Eric Musselman was saying. I know that at times he was frustrated with the way his team played, but offensively, man, is that their best performance this season?
Well, when you average 1.33 points per possession, that's pretty strong. I think that was their highest.
Mm-hmm.
They were at 1.5 points per possession early on. And you could just tell from the flow of it that they were confident in what they were going to do, and Vanderbilt was a little shorthanded, and they took advantage. I actually felt a little bit sad for Vandy that they had so many guys out, but they played the game, but their hearts didn't look – they just didn't look very energized, and that might have been partly due to the no crowd, just 80-something people and no fans. So they drove into the lane. Jalen Tate was spectacular driving into the lane. A lot of guys were aggressive, getting the ball into the hole, and they were judicious in their three-point shooting selections, and they made a good number of them. So yeah, they're going to be feeling good entering a part of their schedule. And they got several home games, and the Oklahoma State road games coming up, and maybe it's time to make some hay right now.
Auburn looks like a completely different basketball team with the addition of Sharif Cooper. And I think when you look at Arkansas, Tom, Arkansas looks like a much different team with Justin Smith back into the fold. Now, the competition that they faced the last two games hasn't been what it was when they faced Alabama and LSU and Tennessee. But I wonder, from your perspective, how much of the chance of them making the NCAA tournament went back up with Justin Smith being inserted back into the starting lineup?
Oh yeah, that was a big factor for them, and if they can just hang on, I mean they're 500 in conference. I think if they finish that way or a game or two above, I think they're in there because they still have some tough games to go. And I'll tell y'all, that Auburn team, I was just doing a note on them for my SEC report tomorrow. They blew South Carolina's doors off, and they're hosting Missouri this week. And, the Tigers better watch out. Auburn's playing a lot better ball, and I think that comeback win over Auburn last week, that might be the moment, that they didn't let that game get away. They found a way to get their offense going and came back and won that game because Auburn's on a tear right now.
Now you could even make the case they let it get away and then stole it back, trailing 19 to come back and beat Auburn like that. So certainly I think when you look back at it, that's going to be a pivotal turning point in the season that we look back on. All right, Tom, you got Ole Miss this Wednesday, and then you got Oklahoma State out of conference in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Let's start with the Ole Miss game, a team that's behind Arkansas in the standings right now, but a team you need to beat in order to maintain ahead of them. How are you seeing this game Wednesday night back at Bud Walton Arena?
Right. It looks to me like Devontae Schuler and Buffin. Look, they're kind of a perimeter-oriented team. I watched a little bit of their A&M game, and they were trailing at the time, and this game was in Oxford, and it was being played at A&M's pace, which is keep the score in the 50s and stuff. But they found a way, and it looks like they started shooting the three a little bit better. But they have some head-scratching losses, too. So Arkansas being at home, they can't relax. They need to, and Eric Musselman and his staff are very good at this, finding weak points, going through their entire roster. How can we attack them? What are they going to try to do to us? And finding ways to do it. That was a game early on last year. They played at Oxford and came back from an 11-point deficit and won that one. So the Rebels will be remembering that one when they come in here Wednesday.
What's your thoughts on the Oklahoma State game on Saturday? Obviously a non-conference game, but always important in these conference challenges to represent your league well. It's usually good for net rankings and all the other metrics. What's your thoughts on this Oklahoma State game Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely good for your metrics, and just playing the game will help them. But I have not done a deep dive on Oklahoma State yet. I do know they have some good wins in the Big 12, but I cannot tell you a whole lot about what's going on with their roster right now. So maybe when we talk Thursday, I will be more better prepared to talk about the Cowboys. But, clearly a game that, I think the SEC had a pretty decent run in the SEC Big 12 Challenge last year. They're probably running around fourth or so in the conference rankings, and having a good weekend on Saturday will help. I did notice that Auburn is playing at Baylor in that one, or they're playing Baylor. So good luck to the Tigers staying hot coming Saturday.
I'll treetop it for you, Tom. Cade Cunningham is one of the best, if not the best player in college basketball, and they almost actually beat Baylor on Saturday. They held them pretty close. At one point, they were up in the game, but that is the guy that I'm guessing. And I'm excited about the intrigue of him and Moses being high school teammates in Montverde Academy, and just that matchup that you'll get to see. Cade plays the point. I think he's like 6'7", if I remember that right. Ooh. This is, I'm telling you, man. And now the atmosphere isn't going to be what it would typically be in Iba Gallagher or Gallagher Iba, but that game on Saturday, Hog fans, you better be tuning in because it is going to be a fun matchup. And I wonder
if it sounds like it.
Sorry,
and they might do the deal where they put Desi like they did on Justin Powell on a taller point guard just to try to get under him and try to frustrate him a little bit, but they'll probably mix it up on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Tom, let's talk some NFL with you, and then we'll get to Hank Aaron here coming up. But got a couple good games yesterday, NFC Championship and AFC Championship, and we were discussing Matt LaFleur's decision not to go for it on 4th and goal at the 8-yard line, taking the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands, hoping that his defense can stop the greatest quarterback of all time. Were you as up in arms as many Packers fans and other NFL analysts were on that decision yesterday?
Well, I do think that the metrics might tell you to go for it, but they had just had 2 pass plays from there, maybe 3, all 3. I thought Aaron Rodgers should have run the ball on 3rd down. When you look at what he had available to him, if he breaks it off to the right, he's going to get very, very close to the goal line if he keeps the ball in his hands. And then if he could have got down to the 1 or 2, I think it would have made their decision a no-brainer to go for the touchdown. And still needed the 2-point conversion, but in hindsight, it looks like they should have done that. You don't anticipate that the Bucs are going to be able to get 2 more first downs. And, hey, smart move by them letting him have it on that defensive offside, intentional. But, hey, the Packers had a chance. They were at home, and I think this drops Rodgers now to 1-4 in NFC title games. And, of course, one of the best ones was when they lost to the Falcons in Atlanta.
Oh, man. I figured that was going to come up, but I'm glad you saved for it. So this matchup, Tom, and everyone wants to do, hey, what have you done for me lately, or what's in front of your eyes? But when you actually break down this matchup, and we discussed a few of them earlier when it comes to quarterback duels, just from your vantage point as a guy that's grown up watching the NFL, is this up there as one of the best quarterback matchups that we'll get to see in Super Bowl history?
It sure is, and I hope Patrick Mahomes stays healthy for a long time because by the end of his career, he'll be up there. I mean, I don't know if any franchise can get back to the Super Bowl like New England did for that stretch. It was phenomenal. But Patty is a different quarterback. His ability to throw off-footed on the run, fake guys, and run the ball on his own has been amazing. And the fact they're a regional team, I love it. I wish I had been able to get up there and see a game this year. I do think the Buccaneers are going to put a defensive scheme together that's going to cause them a little bit of a pause. And I thought the Buffalo Bills were going to be able to do that. But, man, after those first couple of possessions, after the fumbled punt and the Bills cashed that in, they just took command. Mm-hmm. And they could not stop Travis Kelce. They are so beautiful at misdirection, the window dressing stuff, and then handing the ball off to a speedster like Hill or the kid from Georgia, Mecole Hardman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just getting them in the loose. And so the Chiefs, to me, are one of the funnest teams, whether you like them or not. They're one of the funnest teams to watch. They play good defense as well. But I cannot discount the Bucs. And of all the franchises, this sad sack franchise, the Bucs, are the first ones to get to play a Super Bowl in their home city. It makes me ill.
Yeah. Tom Murphy with us here on the Morning Rush with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Let's go back to Friday and talk about some news that broke with the football coaching staff. Going to be a change, it appears, on both sides of the ball. Michael Scherer is going to be elevated to be the linebacker coach as part of Barry Odom's defensive staff, and then a change with John Cooper as the tight ends coach. Tom, what do you know about these changes, and maybe what was the motivation, or what set the changes down this path?
Yeah, I do know that they're happening, and I would just say that Michael Scherer looks to me almost like a son to Barry Odom. He clearly trusts him. They sit together in the press box. And Ryan Rhodes is a great dude. I just feel like maybe he approached linebackers from like a head coaching perspective. That's what he was used to. And maybe Barry Odom wanted a little bit more technical advice or younger voice in the linebacker room. Haven't heard a whole lot deeper than that. On that decision, and then John Cooper, I do not know. I do not know what happened there, other than the move appears to be going to be made. I think there has been interest in John Cooper from other staffs, but we haven't heard anything. I mean, there was talk that Ole Miss might be interested in him, but nothing has become official on that. So I'm not sure where he's going to land or what's going to happen there or what direction they might go. Of course, everyone saw the Chris Gregg tweet. It's going to be up on the hill for a while,
yep,
and assumed that meant he might be the new tight ends coach. But I do not know anything further than that. He's been a GA at Memphis, and maybe things will unfold a little bit more this coming week.
Any feel on a timeline? Because, I mean, obviously this leaves one opening on your staff with the tight ends coach. Any idea when you think a new coach may be named to that post?
No, I don't. And here's the thing, though. I don't think they have to be in a rush because you're in your winter conditioning. I think this will start week 3 for them. I think that's right. Yeah, week 3, and the strength and conditioning coaches have the calm right now, and they can be a little bit choosy. And the situation at linebacker, Barry Odom obviously had suitors in the off season, and then when you agree to come back and probably to a nice pay raise, you get a little bit more autonomy. You get to make some more decisions about what's going on your side of the ball, and Sam Pittman trusts him, and so I see that as what happened there. And I'm sure Kendall Briles will have a heavy influence on what happens at tight ends coach.
Tom, before we let you go, just your thoughts on the passing of Hammer and Hank Aaron over the weekend, man.
Yeah, really sad day. I've been in his presence a few times. I never got to, interview him. When I lived in Daphne, Alabama, of course, he's from Mobile, across the bay, and the Hank Aaron Loop is there, and I covered many a game at Hank Aaron Stadium where the Mobile Bay Bears played. And when I was a kid, he was basically my first sports idol. Because he was an Atlanta guy. And, yeah, he played in the launching pad. That helped his home run numbers. But I broke out this paper I wrote when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and my grandfather had taken me to a Braves game against the Expos. And I wrote it up, and it's called My Favorite Place to Be. And it's on a baseball field. And Aaron had doubled in a run in this game against the Montreal Expos. And the Braves won it 4-1, and we lost a true icon. I've seen a lot of people commenting, younger guys like, Ty's age or maybe a little bit older, who did not see Hank Aaron play. And I had the pleasure of doing that. And, obviously one of the great all-time Braves and a very dignified, iconic man. So that one hurt.
Tom, we appreciate it, man. It's I'd say that's a good point to end on, and we'll talk more about Arkansas's game against Ole Miss on Thursday. Get a recap of that, and then preview the Arkansas Oklahoma State game on Saturday, brother.
Man, that sounds awesome. Thank y'all.